So today we're talking about why back to school season hits AuDHD families and educators so hard and what we can do besides shouting, we need to get back to a routine, as though routines are sold beside the pencil cases at Target. So welcome back to Authentically ADHD, the podcast where we stop treating neurodivergent brains like defective office equipment and start building lives that fit the humans that are living them. I'm Carmen, an early childhood special education teacher, writer, podcaster, and ADHDer who understands the school year from multiple sides of the tiny, heavily laminated table. This episode is educational, and it is not individualized, medical, therapeutic, or educational advice. Every neurodivergent child is different, just like every neurodivergent adult is different, and support should be tailored to the actual child, not the imaginary child in a professional development slideshow who responds perfectly to a sticker chart and has never experienced rage over a broken granola bar. So let's get into it. So the back to school nervous system pileup. It's early August. The school building wakes back up. The hallways smell like floor wax, construction paper, and unrealistic expectations. Teachers drag boxes into classrooms, label bins, rebuild visual schedules, and wonder why we own 11 lids that fit absolutely none of our containers. Parents complete forms asking for information they have already provided 3 different times. And children here, school is starting soon, spoken with enthusiasm of someone that's announcing at Disney World. But what do the kids hear? Your sleep schedule is changing. Your morning routine's changing. Your clothes and food may feel and look very different. You will travel somewhere at a specific time. You may ride a loud bus with unfamiliar people. You will enter a building filled with unpredictable sounds, smells, lights, rules, and social expectations. You will be asked to manage your body, your belongings, your transitions, waiting, communication, and emotions while adults evaluate how well you are doing. Also, please smile for the first day photo. That's not just one transition. That's approximately 800 transitions wearing a backpack. This is the back to school nervous system pileup. No, it's not a clinical diagnosis. It is simply just a brutally accurate description of what happens when novelty, uncertainty, sensory demand, executive function demand, social pressure, and sleep disruption merge into the same lane without using a turn signal. And for an AuDHD child or a neurodivergent child, the internal conflict can be especially complicated. The autistic parts may crave predictability, sameness, and enough information to know what is coming. The ADHD parts might need novelty, movement, interest, and immediate feedback to stay engaged. None of this is a mark of lack of intelligence. Intelligence and access are not the same thing. A child can know exactly what they're supposed to do and still be unable to do it. They can understand the rule and fail to retrieve it under stress. They can possess the skill on a Tuesday morning and lose access to it on a Friday afternoon after 5 days of fluorescent lighting, social decoding, and pretending the hand dryer doesn't sound like an aircraft taking off inside of their brain. The better question is not, why won't this child do what they can do? But it is, what is making access harder right now? That is what it is. Not, why can't this child do this? But what is making it hard for them to access this thing, this task, this whatever it is? So first, there's the executive functioning jam. Executive functions help us hold information in our brains, resist impulses, shift tasks, organize actions, and respond when something unexpected happens. They are essentially the brain's air traffic control system. Unfortunately, the first few weeks of school can bring in 400 planes at once, moving the runway signs, and ask the air traffic controller to remember a 16-step morning routine delivered verbally at 7:46 a.m. Let's be more realistic. It's more like 6:46 a.m. considering how early these kids start school, daycare, before and after care, and the actual school itself. So put your folder away, hang up your backpack, get your water bottle, turn in your paper, choose lunch, sit on the carpet, stop licking the cubby. By the time the adult reaches sit on the carpet, the child may still just be processing folder. The adult may see noncompliance. The child's brain sees 7 browser pop ups and no visible close button. Then there's the uncertainty alarm. Autistic children may experience real distress around uncertainty because unclear situations make it harder to predict what will happen. Prepare a response and determine whether they are safe. Sensory sensitivity can intensify this. So, when a child cannot predict how loud, crowded, bright, or uncomfortable an environment's going to be, the nervous system may prepare you for a threat before anything has technically gone wrong. Imagine someone telling you tomorrow you're going somewhere new. There will be a lot of people. They will expect things from you, but we don't know exactly what. You may not know where the bathroom is, and you may not be allowed to leave when you're overwhelmed. Good luck. We bought you new shoes. Most adults would request an itinerary and possibly a small sedative. Previewing helps, but the goal is not to convince the child that nothing difficult will happen. The goal is to make the difficult parts more knowable and create a plan for what they can do when that discomfort arrives. Because a child covering their ears isn't being dramatic. A child who is chewing their sleeve may be seeking regulation. A child hiding under a desk may be reducing visual and social input. A child crashing into furniture just might need stronger body feedback. We call those squeezies in my classroom. When a stressed adults encounter stressed children, the system can become more controlling precisely when everyone needs more flexibility. The child becomes louder, the adult becomes firmer, the child feels less safe, and the adult interprets the escalation as proof that firmer control is needed. Congratulations. We have built a tiny feedback loop from hell. So, the exit is not permissiveness. The exit is understanding what the behavior is doing and responding in a way that restores access. So, what can this look like in real life? Example 1, the shoe crisis. A child is fed, dressed, and almost ready to leave. Then they put on their new school shoes. They freeze. The socks feel wrong. The shoe tongue is folded, and the adult says they were fine when they tried them on. The child cries. The adult checks the clock. Now both nervous systems are on fire. From the outside, this looks like school refusal because of shoes. Inside the child's experience, it may involve sensory discomfort, uncertainty, time pressure, and the knowledge that once they leave home, escape becomes harder. The solution is probably not a 40-minute philosophical discussion about gratitude. It may be more familiar shoes, some backup socks, fewer words, and a plan to revisit footwear when nobody is being held hostage by the clock. Example 2, the child who is quote unquote perfect at school. They follow directions, speak less than they do at home, ask for no breaks, and eat very little. The teacher reports they had a wonderful day. Then the child reaches the car and falls apart because their sibling breathed too loudly. They refuse questions, cry over the wrong snack, and remove half their clothing before even entering the house. They may have been fine all day, but they may not have been quote unquote fine all day. They may have been containing. Home becomes the place where the body releases that effort. It's not a manipulation. It may mean the child trusts home enough to stop performing, and that's a good thing. They may not need an immediate interview about their day. They may need food, silence, movement, deep pressure, a preferred activity, or 20 minutes during which nobody asks for the best part, right? Sometimes the best part was survival, Brenda. Example 3, the defiant transition. A student is building with magnet tiles. The teacher announces cleanup. Notice how the teacher didn't warn any of the children about cleanup at least a minute or two before. That is something that I do in my classroom. Anyways, the teacher just announces cleanup and the child does not move. The direction is repeated. The child builds faster. The teacher removes a tile, the child screams and knocks down the structure. A more supportive approach may sound like you have 2 more minutes, take a picture or choose 2 pieces to save. Then, first tile's in the bin, then you choose the transition song. The boundary remains. Cleanup still happens, but the child receives information, closure, and a bridge. Support does not erase the expectations, but it makes expectations reachable. Build the ramp. I love to use this framework called RAMP, RAMP, because neurodivergent children do not need to be pushed harder toward an inaccessible doorway. They need a ramp. Think of it this way. You're not going to tell a preschool child or a kindergarten child that they need to get the directions to walk to their building and wait outside until they're told to come in for school, right? Ramps just make things easier to access. So let's talk about what each letter stands for. If you want to take notes, if you're like me, put RAMPR down the left side of your paper. So the first R stands for reduced uncertainty. The A in ramp with the R at the end. The A stands for adjust the demand. M is make the support visible. P, plan for recovery. And the last R is reduced uncertainty. Notice how there's 2 R's, one at the beginning and one at the end, and they both stand for the same thing. We will go over that. So, this looks like previewing the experience with concrete details, showing the child what the building looks like, showing them how they might arrive, showing them who may greet them, where their belongings go, where the bathroom is, how lunch works, what the first day activities usually are, and how they can ask for help. And again, how they will know the day is ending. Do not promise that you are going to love school because you don't know that. You really don't. Okay. I was told enough throughout my childhood that I was going to love school. So I literally just faked loving school. And I was always the really good kid who got C's and D's and struggled, but I was passed along because I was the nice, quiet little girl. I mean, I talked a lot and I didn't get great grades, but I was a teacher suck up. So I was able to get by. That's why I was diagnosed later in life. So if you want to avoid that for children or help them and give them access, try things like this. School will have some things you enjoy and some things that feel hard. We are going to learn what your brain needs there, and you can tell us when something is confusing, uncomfortable, or too much. That will help your child feel safe enough to come to you when they need help. When plans change, try the schedule has changed. Music is canceled. That was not the plan that you expected. So first, we're going to go to the library, and afterward, you may choose drawing or headphone time. Notice that what this does not say. It does not say it's not a big deal. The nervous system is experiencing the change, and it gets a vote on how big it feels. So next, A, we're going to adjust the demand. Adjusting the demand does not mean removing every boundary. It means changing the size, timing, format, or support level so participation can become possible. Use minimum viable mornings. Back to school mornings are not the time to debut a 12-step independence program. Choose the smallest routine that gets everyone safely out the door. Bathroom, clothes, food or portable food, medication if prescribed, teeth, shoes in a bag, leave. Everything else is bonus content. Shrink the first step too. Get ready for school or start your work or clean your desk are task clusters disguised as little sentences. Try put your feet on the floor, pick up the pencil, write your name, place the blue paper in the bin, Choose one item to put away. When the first step becomes visible, initiation becomes more possible. Let me explain how this can work in my own classroom, right? I tell the kids to clean up. The boys in blocks have made a huge mess with all different sizes and shapes of blocks all over the place. And my one dysregulated student is just rolling around on top of the blocks because he likes the way it feels and everybody else thinks it's funny. But when I give the direction of, okay, it's time to clean up the blocks, then I assign one student the long blocks, one student the medium sized blocks, and another student the small sized blocks. Then I tell another student to pick up the people, and then they are also in charge of the vehicles. Not only am I helping them to learn how to clean up and get to the end goal, but I'm teaching them underneath all that teamwork. And along with that, the meanings of small, medium, and large, and how to sort and tell the difference between different things. So, just using a few more words and giving a few more specific directions can sometimes make the day incredibly different. The M stands for make support visible. Create a one page how my brain works profile for you, your child. Include strengths, interests, communication preferences, early signs of overload, common triggers, helpful regulation strategies, difficult transitions, food or body awareness concerns, what shutdown looks like, and how the child communicates, like yes, no, stop, help, and bathroom, like those things. Keep it simple, practical, and concise. A parent might say, I know the beginning of the year is intense, so I made a one-page summary of what helps my child access the classroom. I would also love to learn what you notice because their needs may look different at school. When a child appears dysregulated, try, your body looks like it needs support. Do you want quiet, movement, or do you need help? Useful child scripts include, I need fewer words. I can't answer questions yet. The room is too loud. I need space, but I don't want to be alone. I need movement. I need a break. I need love. Those are advanced communication skills. Teach and honor them before accusing a child of failing to use their coping strategies. When tracking behavior, include the context. Don't only write, student had a meltdown at 10:15. Ask, what happened before? Was the activity changing? Room louder? Had the kid eaten? How about, was an adult absent? Was the direction verbal or visual? What helped? What made it worse? We're not collecting evidence for prosecution. We're looking for patterns, okay, to help the child in the future. P is plan for recovery. Recovery should not be reserved for days when everything falls apart. Create an after-school landing zone with a predictable snack, low lighting, a change of clothes, movement, quiet, screen time, deep pressure, outdoor time, and or closeness without conversation. At pickup, you can try, I'm so happy to see you. You don't have to talk yet. Your snack and headphones are ready instead of launching into, how was school? Who did you sit with? What did you learn? What did you eat for lunch? Why are you making that face? This is not a grading. It's a deposition. Later, you can try specific questions. What felt the easiest at school? What made you the happiest? Did anything make you feel sad? What felt confusing? Was there a loud part? Did your body need something it could not get? Do you want me to listen, help, or just leave it alone? Next, scripts for the hard moments. When a child is not starting, I see that you're having trouble beginning. Does it feel too big, too confusing, too uncomfortable, or do you not know what to do? When a child is escalating, you don't have to explain it yet. Show me space, help, quiet, or movement. You are safe, and I am going to use fewer words. When a parent is worried, my child might look quiet when overwhelmed, so lack of disruption does not always mean lack of distress. I would like us to notice patterns early. When a teacher has concerns, I am noticing that transitions after lunch require more support than morning transitions. Can we compare food, sleep, sensory load, and what helps at home? Those things are way more useful than they had a rough day. A rough day is not actionable information. It's just like stating the weather. When staffing is inadequate, this student's plan requires support during arrival and transitions. At our current staffing level, that support is inconsistent. We need to identify who's responsible and what the backup plan is when staff are absent, not just I'll figure it out. Figuring it out is how educators become three unpaid departments wearing one lanyard. So let's talk about what success, quote unquote, should kind of look like. During the first few weeks of school, success may not look like perfect independence. It may look like a child entering a building while distressed but supported, using a break card, eating one familiar food, learning where the bathroom is, tolerating a small group activity, telling an adult that the room is too loud, a teacher recognizing an early sign of shutdown, a parent delaying a question until the child is ready, a student adjusting or a school adjusting a transition before it becomes a daily crisis, an adult repairing after a misunderstanding, a child beginning to trust that support will still exist when their behavior is inconvenient. The first goal is not maximum productivity. The first goal is safety, connection, and usable predictability. We must stop demanding evidence of severe distress before offering reasonable support. A child should not have to scream before we believe that the room is too loud. They should not have to run before we believe that the tasks feel impossible. They should not have to stop eating before we believe that lunchtime is overwhelming. They should not have to earn compassion by falling apart publicly. The beginning of the school year asks a lot from everyone. It asks children to enter unfamiliar systems. It asks parents to trust people they barely know. It asks teachers to build relationships while managing demands that would make an air traffic controller request a personal leave. There will be rough mornings, forgotten folders, tears in parking lots, and emails typed while emotionally possessed that should remain in drafts folder until everybody has eaten a carb. There will be days when the visual schedule falls down, the preferred snack breaks in half, and the child announces that school has been permanently canceled by executive order. But underneath all the chaos is a child who's just trying to understand. Am I safe here? Will you help me if I can't understand or can't explain what's wrong? Will you still like me when my body becomes inconvenient? Do I have to hide my needs to belong? This is the real curriculum of the first few weeks. Before reading levels, math groups, and behavior goals, children are learning whether adults interpret struggle as communication or character. They are learning whether support disappears when they need it most. And they are learning whether mistakes lead to repair or shame. Our job is not to silence that information until you become easier to manage. Our job is to listen closely enough so that you no longer have to break apart to be believed. The goal of school should never be to produce a child who looks calm while suffering silently. The goal is to build a child who knows my needs are real, my voice matters, supports is something that I have to deserve. I am allowed to learn without abandoning myself. A successful school year is not one in which the child causes the least disruption. It's the one where the child becomes deeply known. Maybe this year, instead of asking neurodivergent children to become less complicated, less sensitive, less intense, less themselves, we can become adults who are more curious, more flexible, more honest, and more willing to build a ramp. Because a child should never have to become smaller just to fit through the schoolhouse door. Thank you so much for choosing to listen to Authentically ADHD. Share this episode with a parent, teacher, paraprofessional, administrator, or anyone standing in a school supply aisle wondering whether 12 glue sticks are enough to hold an educational system together. They aren't, but connection, curiosity, and the right support are a powerful place to begin. Until next time, be gentle with your brain. And remember, needing a ramp does not mean you're incapable of reaching your destination. It means someone designed the entrance without considering you. And that can be changed. Until next time, stay authentic, and we will talk soon.